Okay, Chet is first up.
Hey,
Hello.
Jason. How you doing?
How's it going, man? Good.
Good to see you. Congratulations on the Midnight Gospel.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Amazing. I had a question, but I also wanted to give kind of a success story for Magick.me because it's the craziest thing. It's not crazy really, but I've been doing it like the site-wide subscription for a couple of years. And I initially joined to better my finances because it seemed like I sort of had everything in my life that I needed, except that was always the struggle every month for like the past 15 years trying to live as an artist. And so I got through most of the videos on the site, and then I did the 7-day supercharger, and I did that for finances. And basically I did it to the T, and it all kind of started manifesting around January. And I didn't even realize that that's when I had scheduled it to happen according to the working. It was just completely, it started happening. And the bottom line is I have probably had a better year business-wise up to this point than any year I've ever had.
Awesome. That's great.
So it's amazing. So for me, it's like I've already been living this lifestyle of social distancing because I'm an artist and I work all the time in my house. So it's like
yeah, me too. It's like okay, nothing changed.
Yeah, I've been preparing for this my entire life, kind of thing. But it's like this is the first time I've never had to stress about money at the end of every month.
That's great.
Throughout
Congratulations.
this whole thing, which is thank you. Thank you. I mean, I appreciate
this month.
What's that?
This month, when everyone else is stressing about money?
Every month since January. It's been
that's excellent.
More and more. It's crazy, man. I just got an order right now. It came in through my email. So anyway, I recommend everybody for taking that. But on a more
let me ask you this. How has, since you said you had everything else lined up before that, how has your sense of that, or what is your sense of that been in relation to other spiritual and magical practice?
Oh, well, actually, yeah, I thought I had everything else lined up. But what turns out, as soon as, probably within a couple months of joining and starting to learn this practice, I realized that, I've been focusing all my attention on my business 100%, and I'm completely neglecting my spirituality and my meditation. And so it's like, once I started doing that, things, just got into a regular meditation practice. That was like the big takeaway for me is it's like, stay connected to your spirituality, meditate on a regular basis. And then things started kind of, coming together. And then I started doing, some sigil stuff. And then I did the supercharger, and, it's like, I haven't done any workings since I did that supercharger because everything's just been like, I've just been doing my meditation and upkeep.
So you haven't done the Fortuna working then?
No, I didn't need to.
Okay,
I haven't needed to yet. I watched it.
Just wait. I
went, right. Yeah, no, I watched it and I was like, oh, this is great. But it's like, now I'm just trying to keep up with all the business I have actually, So
that's great. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. I'm a success story for for Magick.me.
That's great. And so I guess what I was getting at, it's like, did that make you feel, I guess what I'm getting at is because people often have the story of, poverty and spirituality go hand in hand. So it's kind of like, did your sense of spiritual connection improve or get worse after things became more successful for you?
Oh no, it's like I don't have to stress about paying the bills every month, so I can just devote my attention to my spiritual practice. It's like that's kind of what it was. This weird. That I was spending so much time worrying about paying bills each month that I couldn't get it. It was hard for me to focus on my meditation practice, And so now that I've got enough money to cover things, that's just this huge worry out of my life. So I'm spending that extra energy on what I should have been doing all along, which is my meditation practice.
That's great. It's like literally, it's just totally pragmatic. It's like, it's that simple. It's just like, you got to free up space. You got to free up your hard drive to
totally.
You only have so many hours in the day.
Right. Exactly. So anyway, I did have a quick question, like more of a practical question. What do you have any recommendations. I know you've talked about sort of doing magic for other people as dicey because you get involved in their karma in a way, but
Yep.
it's like I would I've got granddaughters that I really care about. I would die for them. And so it's like I really feel like would like to know some kind of practical, maybe a practical working or some kind of protective something I could offer on them. They're just little kids. So it's like, I don't know. It seems like even if it did fuck my karma up, I would still do it for them.
Family's different.
Yeah.
Right. Because you already assume the karma of protector. True. Automatically. It's like would you fuck up your karma by physically defending your grandchildren?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. It's like you already assume the responsibility.
That's true. So, good point.
Yeah, and wait till somebody's like pulling you out of an ancestral altar. Like, fix my shit. I can't make my car payments. Fuck. Damn it, I can't rest. You go to China. Like, I don't know if you've seen the big ancestral altars in China. There's this huge, gigantic. It's like, just imagine like thousands of years of stern Asian parents just being like, damn it. So,
yep. But I was wondering if there's a practical kind of working.
Practical.
Maybe?
Let me think about that. Well, obviously, being a presence in their life and being there to lend as much life wisdom as possible, and that they know you, so that they.
Which I've also been able to, because of this, I've been able to support them with money, and then make sure they have what they need because of
that's wonderful. Man, that makes me really happy. That makes me happy.
Yeah. So it works in that way too, but
Well, like that, particularly if they're young, sticking money in long-term index funds for them.
Yeah.
Like starting long-term retirement funds. Then you can protect them when they're long after you're gone.
Right.
And that's I think that. Yeah, it's like we have this whole custom of like birthdays and Christmas. It's like, think about if all those gifts, I don't know how many toys people remember from when they were kids. Like, imagine if that was, it's like, okay, look, if you're a kid, and somebody's like, I deposited, $5 in your index fund. Like, if you're a kid, you're gonna start throwing ice cream at walls and shit. You're gonna go ape shit. But just imagine if that money was used in that way. It'd be worth so much. Just in terms of magically, I think that that's an interesting question.
I'm thinking, protect them. I want to protect them from getting the coronavirus. It's you want to all aside from all the practical measures we all take, it's like I'm just wondering if there's something extra I could do for my family.
I think in general, you need. This is my straightforward response, which is that in general, you need to be able to. Here's my off-the-cuff answer, right? Okay. So first of all, are there practical techniques somewhere? Yes, I'm sure. But my off-the-cuff answer is this, outside of getting into anything technical, which is that you simply just need to get to a point in your development where you can extend your energetic field over them.
Yeah.
Right. At a non-conscious level.
Right.
On an ongoing level, and you also need to be able to accept. That you accept the burden of stuff when you do that, essentially it's like the contract of that. When you do that, you accept the burden of their suffering if necessary, right? So it's basically like, if I need to take a knock for somebody, I will, right? And that's just it's just responsible humaning, when it comes to family, right? So it's not anything that goes out of the way. Now when we get into an issue with that is when people decide that I am the savior of the whole world and I'm going to do that for the whole planet.
Right.
And they wonder why their life looks like they got run over by a Mack truck. Right. So
yeah.
But for householder karma, it's like, well, it's assumed that you need to do that with your family anyways, right? And a lot in the modern world, a lot of people have rescinded that responsibility. And we'll even see lots of spiritual justifications for that, of people saying like, well, everyone has their own karma and all this. Like, yeah, but they're your family, you know. And usually you very rarely, if at all, ever get more than one initiate or magical person per family pod, right? So usually that person ends up, you know, bearing a lot of brunt. And now, it's obviously not true in magical cultures often and things like that, but those are the exceptions. And the other thing is that spiritual practitioners within family units usually end up also bearing the brunt of ancestral karma and working through, whether they're aware of it or not, burning off prior ancestral traumas and things like this. Right. So you kind of step up to the plate, and you know, and it's like you often see this where it's like, oh, like crazy Uncle Joe is like into this weird stuff, but you know, it's like, but you know, but he's kind of invisibly there in a sense.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense, but the
yeah.
So I think, and I the primary way to do that is to be in their life and be there physically. You know, it's like this is, and we know the site. It's like the primary one of the primary determiners of success for adults later in life is to have both family members there, right, and stable, right, and particularly the father, right, and you know, this is not a knock on single mothers. Like, single mothers are like, it's an ungodly burden. It's heroic, right? It's amazing. It deserves everything, you know, every accolade in the world. Should people have to do that? No. Right. Is it an unideal situation that people rise to the occasion heroically? Yeah. Right. But it's not ideal. And the and even more so to have a grandfatherly presence, very rare.
Right.
Very rare. Right. So you never, so I'll point this out. I never even thought about this till now. You see in the media, it's like, you know, particularly since the talk show 80s and 90s, where you know, people have discussed at end, like, well, you know, where's the father in the situation? So you never hear people saying like, where are the grandparents?
Right.
Not even talk. It's like beyond the pale. So I think just physically being there is the main thing.
Yeah, and they've got both their grandparents in their lives too, so it's kind of amazing.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I mean, that's
both pairs.
Yeah, so just don't check out, and so don't check, and so it's basically don't check out physically or energetically, and I think that's the main thing. Okay,
I'm not doing that, so
I'm sure.
Right, so, all good then.
Yeah, I think so. And I, just as a reminder, a meta reminder across the board for all magical practices is that magical rituals and exercises and processes and all the stuff that you read, they're training machines. It's kind of like the machines at the gym, right? But they're not it's not like this Hollywood idea of like, oh, you have to do this X process to get Y result. I mean, yes, to some extent,
right.
But it's also, they train what you're doing is you're training your capacity on the subtle levels, you know, astral, causal,
right, yeah,
all that. And so it's kind of like so you train yourself up, you make yourself stronger, and then you kind of respond intuitively within the situation at the energetic level.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
All right. Thanks for that. I'm really happy for your success story.
Oh,
I'm getting a lot of these now. It makes me really happy. At least I've done something right in my life.
Yeah, definitely. Made a difference in mine for sure.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks.